Hola a todos y bienvenidos. Welcome to a new episode of Español en 3 minutos. Now, I've had several requests lately to do a video on bien versus bueno. Now, this is quite a complex topic, so let's get started. Vamos. Now, the first part of this topic is not so bad. That's because the sentences translate quite well. These are sentences like, she is a good singer. Ella es una cantante buena. She sings well. Canta bien. He is a good runner. Él es un corredor bueno. He runs well. Corre bien. They are good writers. Ellos son escritores buenos. They write well. Escriben bien. So if we simply want to say a good person, a good movie, a good dancer, etc., we need bueno. It's an adjective and it goes with nouns. If we want to say a person reads well or speaks well or cooks well, we need bien because it's an adverb and it goes with verbs. Now, a really common question we receive is what's the difference between una buena película and una película buena? Un buen libro versus un libro bueno. And the answer is there is no difference. These options are 100% interchangeable. And natives will flip between them regularly. All that we have to remember is that we drop the O in bueno when we put it in front of a masculine noun. Un buen lugar, un buen momento. Next, we're going to look at the more complex part of this topic, and that's when we want to say, I am good, he is good, or it is good. Now we have to choose between ser versus estar and bueno and bien. So if we take a 2 by 2 for it is good, we have es bien, está bien, es bueno, está bueno. Now, first things first, we should never combine bien with ser. Never say something es bien. Now, you may find these two words next to one another, but they will be part of a larger phrase like eres Rafa, que es bien distinto. Eres Rafa, que es bien distinto.
Eres Rafa, que es bien distinto.
Now here, bien goes with distinto, which would mean quite different. So bien is playing the role of quite in this example, but as I mentioned, you'll never see es bien on its own. Now the other three options are possible, but I would say that we need to be extra careful with está bueno. This is because its meaning changes regionally and it has the highest potential for a miscommunication if we get the context wrong. Now let's look at some examples of the main two. If someone asks you, ¿Qué tal el libro? How is the book? We can respond and say, el libro es bueno, which means the book is good. Now we can also say, el libro está bien, which means the book is good, or maybe okay or fine. Está bien tends to be a little more neutral. It's kind of like it's okay in English. It's not quite as positive as es bueno, but we can also add muy. So el libro es muy bueno, the book is very good, or el libro está muy bien, which I would also translate as the book is very good. So está muy bien and es muy bueno are basically synonyms in this context. You can use them interchangeably. Now, I'm going to include an example for está bueno as a bonus tip, but for now, let's do some practice. So she is a good cook. She cooks well. How do we say this in Spanish? Es una buena cocinera. Cocina bien. Es una buena cocinera. Cocina bien. The movie is good. How do we say this in Spanish? La película es buena. And maybe if we didn't want to be as positive, we could say la película está bien. The show is very good. How do we say this in Spanish? El espectáculo es muy bueno. Or we could also say, el espectáculo está muy bien. Again, these are interchangeable. Now, as the bonus tip, está bueno. Now, I could probably do a whole español en 3 minutos on just this phrase. Now, it changes regionally. In some countries, it might be used differently by the youth and by the elderly. It can be really neutral as a phrase, but it can also be a bit vulgar in certain situations. So context is absolutely vital here. For now and for simplicity, the context I recommend you use it in is with food. So when a waiter asks halfway through the meal, how is the food? They might ask something like, ¿Cómo está? Or todo being optional, ¿Cómo está todo? Now you can respond, está bueno, or todo está bueno, which just simply means, yeah, the food is really good. Now, of course, we could also say está bien here. This is another option. Now, in general, we really want to use estar with food. Now, outside of food, talking about people or things, I recommend you stick with es bueno and está bien. They pretty much always work and will reliably communicate the idea you want to express, and you won't risk any miscommunications. Okay, if you have any questions on bueno versus bien, then please leave them in the comment section below. Also, please remember to do all the things that are helpful for the YouTube algorithm, like, subscribe, and share. And on that note, until next time, habla mejor, entiende más.